What is the root of poverty? Poverty often begins in the mind before it manifests in material life. At its core, the problem of people living in poverty isn't just lack of income. It's a combination of disempowerment, disconnection, and limitation of opportunity on multiple levels. Poverty persists where the human spirit is not awakened to its own creative power, and where society fails to nurture that awakening. The important question then is, if someone realizes their true identity, would they choose poverty? For ages, humanity has tried to fix its suffering through knowledge, politics, religion, and power. Yet the same pain returns in new forms: poverty, greed, conflict, loneliness, and fear. Why? Because we have tried to heal the surface without awakening the source. That we attempt to solve problems from the very mind that created them, from ego, division, and unconscious desire, that we feel the feeling of indifference toward other beings, seeing them as separate, unworthy, or unconnected to ourselves, is indeed the deepest form of sin, because it denies the unity of all life and the divine presence within every being. When you feel separate from others, love is blocked, and ignorance takes root. Jesus taught, "Love your neighbor as yourself, and forgive 70 times 7, because your neighbor is yourself in another form." The same divine life flows through both. What we wished up on others, whether good or bad, we wish it up on us. Just because we don't understand how the law of nature works, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Although we always have to walk with discernment to avoid hurt from the mess humanity put itself in, it's important to remember the principle of oneness. When ignorance ends through self-realization, or knowing the differences between our ego and our consciousness, suffering dissolves naturally, revealing peace, freedom, and unity with all existence. Therefore, real healing begins only when we awaken to consciousness itself, the silent awareness behind all thought and emotion. When a person begins to see through the eye of consciousness, the world changes instantly. The ego's illusions lose their power. The mind becomes clear and still. Compassion and wisdom arise naturally. Social problems begin to dissolve, not through control, but through understanding. Love is not a feeling we create, but the nature of being itself. When division ends, everything you see, your body, the trees, the oceans, the stars, is made of the same essence. Science calls it energy or matter. Mystics call it spirit or consciousness. The carbon in your body was made in stars. The oxygen you breathe is released by trees. The water in your blood once flowed in ancient oceans. When we step back and look at ourselves from the perspective of the cosmos, we are tiny beings floating around the sun, sitting on a small rock called planet, suspended in an infinite universe. So small but so intelligent. We are the cosmos breathing, feeling, and knowing itself in human form. However, because of our ego, we are busy fighting for reason of borders, races, religions, and social classes all appear almost meaningless. Every living thing pulses with the same invisible current, the animating intelligence that makes the seed sprout, the heart beat, and the galaxies spin. That life is not yours or mine. It is the one life expressing through countless forms. When you sit quietly, you can sometimes feel it, a silent vitality that is not personal but universal. At the deepest level, all distinctions dissolve in awareness itself. The same consciousness that looks through your eyes shines through every being. Only the forms differ: body, shape, personality. But the light of awareness is one. Think of waves on the ocean. Each wave seems separate, yet every wave is only the ocean moving in a different way. When we say God lives in everything, we mean the divine essence, not the behavior. Every being exists because of God's life force. Just as electricity powers both a refrigerator and a heater, one cools, one heats, but the current is the same. Or think of sunlight passing through colored glass. Through red glass, it looks red. Through green glass, it looks green. Through clear glass, it shines pure. The essence is pure. The expression differs according to the form and purpose. In animals, consciousness sleeps. In plants, consciousness dreams. In humans, consciousness awakens. In enlightened beings, God knows itself as itself. The living unity. When you stop naming, comparing, and judging, you begin to feel the world not as something outside you, but as a movement within your own being. A breeze touches your skin. It's not air in me. It's one continuous dance of life touching itself. The more silent your mind becomes, the clearer this unity reveals itself. Love is the felt recognition of oneness. I am one with the cosmos, trees, and oceans. It's not a poetic belief. It's a statement of truth that self-awareness is not a luxury. It is the foundation for a sane and compassionate world. It is the shortcut that transcends all layers of confusion, ideology, and conflict. The ego does make spiritual awakening seem complicated, though not because it's evil or plotting against you. It's because the ego's survival depends on confusion and separation. When a person truly awakens to consciousness itself, not as a concept, but as direct experience, the many layers of poverty, mental, emotional, and material, begin to dissolve from the root. Compassion arises naturally. You begin to see others not as poor or rich, but as the same living awareness wearing different forms. Mental poverty dissolves because awareness shows you that thoughts are not truth. They come and go. Emotional poverty heals because you no longer depend on others' validation for worth. Spiritual poverty ends because you recognize that your essence has never been lacking. Material poverty begins to change, not through magic, but through clarity and energy. From stillness comes wisdom, and wisdom naturally creates more intelligent action. If even a small number of people see the world through the eye of consciousness, the structures of society would begin to shift, not from rebellion, but from awakening. Systems born from greed would no longer make sense. Compassionate intelligence would naturally design fairer ways of living. Consciousness is infinite, pure, and ever-present. It cannot be destroyed, polluted, or confined. It is the source of all power and knowledge, yet utterly still. It is as close as your next breath. Ask yourself, am I aware? Notice that you are aware of your body, your surroundings, your thoughts, feelings, and sensations. Now ask, who is aware of all this? Whatever you find when you look for the answer, that is awareness, your true self.